Otumfuo ato pressure ama Ghana ban sa bra me ne wo ka say amanyofo no tiri asase akikabom omo say ede na ebe in the history of Ghana say nka de anim ni say yes Ghana call World Bank akoji sika abeye Ghana ye, but this time the conversation that is coming and say Asanteman call World Bank ho akoji sika abeye Asanteman ye, big conversation again ebobobano. These details, I don't know even how to start this content because the details of this content, the moment I got the details, and I'm sure most of you may have to say, Mr. Diagana, that is the vice president for the Central and the Western Africa. World Bank, PMU manhyia on the 10th of January. I'm sure most of you, Mate. The details of their meeting, most of you videos money adade. The details that I got. Of which menya wote na my bedroom one after the other. Me ho edwere me firi dano ebesine. E dey na Ghana na drew to the extent say Otumfuo timi denya ne ka say I want a social contract with the World Bank. I don't need the government to intervene. I don't need the government. I don't need politicians anymore. Ebi ahun baby an common if you home. And common modru. Si bibi say itimi ba, I will not be surprised. Mamin kengu asum. Mamin kengu. I will not be surprised. See ebe dem yanen. One day, Asanteman say, "What in one free Ghana?" What dey? Obese me kebi emu. A contract that is supposed to be between the World Bank and Ghana. Otumfuo say that contract need to be a social contract. Was so tired of politicians. What is going on? Me more really entertain 70 papa. That the way you be out jai. Now on this platform, you di ahinsem ho komo, you di amanyosem ho komo matters politically. You di ho komo because untimi ntete Ghana abra amanyosem ene ahensem enka ho say ye pa omo nim communities, various communities, jurisdictions in Ghana problem pa wo omo nim o betimi aka kira ban ni say we na wa ha ye hia nananom ntie ntimi nyi nananom emfi amanyosem enu ntina say ebeduru mena politicians person omo ye campaign a omo di kan kosasa nananom agi wo nanum ansem ne wo hia no no omo de agina so a prepare their manifesto in terms of development. On this platform, you can't see across the 16 regions in Ghana. You can't crash now. Come on, and woman on the do. What a project be a friend a year KUMAP. And this project was supposed to be done. It was supposed to begin in the structures and everything 10 years ago. But on board the drawing of the project. You develop. De bia modernization air cost no. Ne design ni bi be ka ho. Asanteman project. Anke be boa Ghana edi sika ba o man mu. Na ama youth enye ndwuma ye. E be boa the transport section of the country's economy. E hon komo no Otumfuo. To a World Bank president, the vice president, of course, and him. Abra, World Bank vice president, Mr. Diagana, a copy manhyia. World Bank, Mr. Diagana, said Mr. Diagana, and come here. Nunco busa, because in him say, you can't Ghana, and anonymous dia, Otumfuo, a you be an enemy mosho. It's a pobia busano, Quayan, and anonymous faso, a show when sick as Sam. A bow home by Eddie Buwong, in Kurukura, Yankuni Kubusu, Otumfuo say, a quite best son and anonymous faso. Etimi ehwe wo mo finances ehwe eho and a kwatwetwe enkomo no na ba na otie enkomo no a na Otumfuo kra no abo World Bank at what that ti san enkomo no koton chen ti Otumfuo be so catch World Bank no eno and the above. According to the details that I'm having for you today, or say Kumasi Urban Mobility and Accessibility Project should be under a social contract. Tie Asante to the World Bank. Asante and they catch a World Bank and say, KUMAP project to be I have very Kumasi Urban Mobility and Accessibility. project bi when it comes to say masse akwan emu ebede da ho na ni petimi move freely and safely no eno and your friend KUMAP no Otumfuo timi de koto World Bank enim this is what KUMAP no a project to the extent say ukopie mu the whole of the Central and the Western Africa. You can the first 3 projects so to say it can be. Of course, so much we are. It might be even the biggest in the whole of Western and Central Africa. What think common? All in the name say, Senebea, Ghana economy ni betumpa. To Otumfuo say, oh you ready? So bet take contract socially. Now me emo rem yen twaso na yetie the details no etie no kra the mood was say the monarch of the Asante Kingdom Otumfuo II has proposed to the World Bank that the implementation of the Kumasi Urban Mobility and Accessibility Project, the KUMAP, be carried out under a social contract. Otumfuo catchere the World Bank say project is going to be one of its kind in the whole of Western and Central Africa. No? On Pesa binding because the contract was before between the government of Ghana and the World Bank. Also on Pesa this time it should be a social contract. Asanteman, Otumfuo, and a World Bank. Simple. We hear politicians be a dwumadi no. E di nti no Otumfuo e kan sem a emu oduru say me say me bi boboba me ensane mu nkofo. Otumfuo is confident that such a contract will expedite the implementation of the project. Otumfuo editum akudrum say see a done contract in social contract na between Asanteman Otumfuo and the World Bank no a dwumadi ne be call no 30 tentem so KUMAP no ebe koso tentem indirectly Otumfuo is trying to tell the politicians say mo no ma mo ye slow too much kodekoye swami akwan odasani atimi atutu agu ho eja hokọ odasani atutu eja hokọ me ento aso nkomoni modu o say I don't want to depend on politicians for my development. Otumfuo say when you are politicians, you don't want to depend on politicians anymore when it comes to development. Again, something you Bibi cause secretly and we know say when it comes to project development, Otumfuo is number 1. Otumfuo say to Jubilee Hall, a project that worth more than $10 million. Otumfuo to me at less than a year a build such a project. And a bomb in Ghana will be a emotion. And will be a being a no car say. Senior Otumfuo to me a project way so fast and quick. Yeah, the Ghana you made in a shannonsa. Do bet me I am a Ghana, a bebrontias. Yes. Yananum from Eastern region. Yananum from Central region. Yananum from a half region. Yananum from Western region. Yananum cutting across all the 16 regions of Ghana. As with me ko PMU, Otumfuo e bia no. Ni dina no ye hu government e wo ho. Nananom nyina ko PMU ho. E Otumfuo say Jubilee Hall no a e sata internet ni nyina so. And this project within a year this year, and it was splendid. Not effort too much. And so if Otumfuo today is saying the KUMAP project, he has to be on one idea. I will not be surprised if within 3 years a project that can take about 4 because any small project it's a project after that, I'm telling you, say interchanges in Asante region, it will be more than 10. And the main reason why Otumfuo need that project in Kumasi specifically, you didn't come with you what and Kratana Mikram CC. A bit rich in name, I'm watching. And Kratano, a bit rich be BM, I'm watching. Come on, what do? He ain't a Ghana equi. A push you Otumfuo money taking some decisions. Me and Twaso. I say, I don't want to depend on the politicians for my development. I don't want that. So let's have the social contract. Mempesa, Timumiendi, social contract. I say, this is something I want us to look at. We dear me person, my name World Bank, yes, Mr. Diagana, what about Hatanasi? Person no bibi. I say, His Majesty said during a visit by the World Bank Vice President for Western and Central Africa, His Excellency Osmani Diagana on January 10th, 2025, to discuss the KUMAP. I say he be more no Otumfuo di war. Oh, he be more. I say the project has been in the pipeline since 2015. 10 years in here. Project in it how. On whom punto bia. On whom even the tier 1 trip. Otumfuo di war catch a World Bank vice president. And come he needed it in a social contract. That tells you how much Otumfuo is disappointed in politicians. What ye? And I tell you, sir, if Nananum Yine standing together with Otumfuo, you kurasiye aye basan development beba. I am telling you, this conversation is big. See here, then your name Otumfuo said this time he want to deal with World Bank one-on-one. You want to take a government project and or jiffy up buying some on why on where you na there. Say the on what tenancy or can say cat hospital and then tenancy me there. And the project is on. They are doing it. It's at the verge of completion. And this project too, he want to do it alone. This is serious. I'll say it has been on the drawing board for some time since 2015. Say ebe dwuma die no ho nkrata asem se ye hwesem ye daachi ebe se ebe fata etia ya draw to board so ache. It's high time our project and also come into reality. 2.7 more work can. It's high time our brother they be obeda nwane na project na da drawing board so sese nye project na be enkosi da be 10 years. The bureaucracy is something I don't like at all. Otumfuo the 12 so or say eba ehun dwumadie no kra no a eno kra no won pe no kwan a wo mo fa so di project no ho dwuma no wo se won pe empe mama nto so say we have to push harder o say ye yire ye ho ye ni ye kan ye ho ye de ahoden ni bi ka ho. We have to push harder. Said ye tu ho anamo no ye mfa ahoden ni bi nka ho ye nya ne ntem. We have to push harder. As a move slow too much. A day it's taking you 10 years for you to do what? To what timidity, uti in some rat say, Nana Breom. Or the twice say. The population has increased. Ghanaian population, Otumfuo say, Nini, of which say you KUMAP hon some near Candia, then Kumasi some no kana, or part to see the population in Kumasi and Nini, Otumfuo say, and Nini, Kumasi yet to Kumasi be. World statistics add to me say, one of the most fast rising cities in terms of population, Kumasi, of which you can Google that on this platform. Every detail be a debro be a fact. Because in himself penning for sure. One of the fast rising cities in terms of population in Africa, Kumasi. And over Ghana crowd here, a chum said the AC air rising. Document here make him say me through. I bet you the air rising fast. Otumfuo the in our toga. And some now. I say, we have all vehicles fighting for space. And that doesn't help in the economic development because everybody is clamoring to go to the center. I say, Obia fan in a feed in the car. Now what they call the center part of Ghana. And that is Kumasi. Obia go to K1ng Ghana be for the center. Because free the north, about the south, you need to pass through the center. Kumasi. Free the west, go the east. You have to pass through Kumasi. If we the east, go the west, you need Kumasi. If we the south, go the north, we hear Kumasi. Obia wodi dwebia efa Ghana from this point to the other, a far point to the far point, the upper far point to the lower far point. You need to pass through Kumasi. Into the transport system, no. What you say? It's so tight, Kumasi. People are clamoring to go to the center. Baby nso call because of say send your transport ACTA will be a twem on. Obu okra wo twem ako ebi at the southern part of Ghana. Odu Kumasi no say the dwade ni nipa ekoso no. No maka. And this is the population of Kumasi, it is becoming so much. So this project called the KUMAP, Otumfuo say ebe boa masa no we swati. Kuro bia we overpopulated bia ho kire wom. Kuro no nkoso. Mama to us na men kind bibi wa enter say if you calculate in hours how much it costs in terms of petrol and diesel, you find out it's costing the economy so much. Or say so what you say petrol e costing any diesel e wo ye Kumasi nko a obo say debi e bo man ne kapa yi because the amount of petrol and diesel like here say they serve the people of Kumasi no e abnormal na nke betimi a hwe Ghana nyina just because of say over population cars a dos one ma cars ni nya kwan papa emfa so nti car was nke twemu wa ha na bia nke ever say free Kumasi KJT a e koso ame 15 minutes drive now was swami 10 minutes you tell so Andrew 8 minutes kura was outing was swami even moto kura de because think 4 minutes from Kumasi KJT a who tell so to say me 4 minutes now was swami nenso arewo sem ne say utimi free Kumasi KJT a say wo call eye swami e be take 1 hour petrol with diesel waste distance was all the 8 minutes e cover no uhia 1 hour ansa na ade aduru ho we nyina bo man ne ka so imagine say 100,000 vehicles and a war commercial petrol ni diesel no Otumfuo chemu say e ka sen na e bo man no abra se KUMAP project e ebema akwan interchanges ebema development wise be bia small towns e wo Kumasi any other portions are closer to Kumasi but in the Asante region ebenya easy connections to the main roads ebet yes our traffic system so some of the cars almost stations almost one omo ni baby kro omo park omo car emutimi tia bus stops is very complicated to find a bus stop ebetimi containing 4 cars at the same time. Kwa no timu se be 100 cars na etwam ebi nya ba bi nya to the sense o so park car no e ba bi e we se ni pafa e mu achi too much. This KUMAP project Otumfuo is talking about e be solve sa normal we nyina se de wo nam abochie no a otim sa abochie ha bus stops ni quality time na ye adwuma car na be ba 3 be ba 3 e be ba 4 e be ba 4 5:30 I expect 5:30 car ni gina ho proper system of transport. A KUMAP project way. I don't know Otumfuo can once. One of the biggest of its kind. So what me we project we are. They are going to build a lot of bus stations also within this project. And the stations cars no omunya problem ya omenya a lot of space in terms of say yes open 30-man station obekona bows in esi ho. Open Accra station obekona bows in esi ho. So transport no 100%. And no komo and Otumfuo e ka no. E ba sa na se kwan ne de demu a otu wo car no ahyew ba bia wo ko bia na waduru. Hwe flyovers no ne namu. Papa. Interchanges no beautiful. Otu car 3 minutes no waduru ba bia waduru. Nipa ba place wo Kumasi too much. Ofiri semu ko the southern part twem wo ho biduru anu aka ene oduru Kumasi a ayese wo mo Kumasi mfimfin nyina ya hohwo nko a yennuanu ntafoi bebre yennuanu ntafoi ni bi kura timi hawo pafo no emutimi chi ha na obi ba hye na chi afiri mu e yabra wo sem a wa wo nti Kumasi no ana wo ntena wo da woni masema meken pawo pafo ne ma no mo jo machi no ebi firim last month kura bi siye akra ne so maame achi nipa ni mia ano ama ba akokra nso sai si won kan kwani free se kwan ne de demu kama oda sani nkofa ho mie nkomia ne ba ma yinku no se metimi to cars 10 emani pass on fa nya adwuma as a transport system is so good to the extent say first no yemfa so no omoko 5 times a day omoko ba 5 times a day transport system is good to the extent say you want me 10 times a day adwuma e koso sika bus system nim nipa na ne car 10 no otimi to 10 ka ho because onim say the system of transport no e good we need problem. KUMAP project a lot of bus stations connectivity in terms of mobility moving freely and safely Nina will be assured in this KUMAP project medical culture flyovers in 13 years in a day. Say any name project, you know, Otumfuo say, I check. 2025 is 10 years since you began talking about it. If you say SRCC di Hong Kong, if you do ne, I fit 2025 if you do. It would have helped the economy and employment. See them teaching which no, a beboa economy no, any a juma, a beme juma, a bakumase, as well as a Ghana dear, a beba Ghana. We have available human resources when it comes to omomia skilled. Nimdifo, some make sure you make the issue, maybe be a torture. Otumfuo say we have enough in Asante region. Otumfuo can answer me, according to the details that I'm getting. He be mourned. Another factor I can point out for the delay was the location of the project office. K1ng Ghana. Another factor Otumfuo di hunkomo. And say, KUMAP project na mo be no Kumase no. Ne office project no office any Kumase. Otumfuo say e ho kra na tini nsunum. Some mobile baby be say wo Kumase na project kakraka we aban no mako si no office e wa kra e di ntino Otumfuo kasa me ensane mu ni ntie was according to the king a project in Kumase with this office in Accra would definitely face challenges and exacerbate the bureaucratic process. According to the details Otumfuo chemu say so mobile be a project say wo Kumase na so office e wa Accra. Don't you think say a better project, you know? Tabe no be free Accra say do Kumase. Na Accra ni Kumase road no kra portable be. And now person mo fly. And no say extra cost. E betimi a delay. E di hen. E ka be na person obo project. No project na person be bas or say this will exacerbate the project. A be worsen project, you know, the continuity, you know, and as a project in the side bas no, or say a be worsen, it will exacerbate it. This project is a project that ever benefited the whole of Ghana. So why will you be an officer a bit me as a BT? That is the project, you know. How? The office in a logical sense, project you Kumase, and yet then an office a work to Otumfuo Ghana, Obusa Ghana government, you know. Send here project be Eastern region. Na Eastern region no team no was so omo ye project no Eastern region no omo office e wa Accra. Are you serious? Abede no matinya monitor project no. Phone. If the workers want to communicate with the team, omo ye project no, they have to what? Call them to come. Broniji contract so be ye bibi okuro bi so a osesan ho nyina aba ho be ye. And so if you really want to do that project, the team office ne was a Kumase. Some more no Eastern is supposed to be in Eastern. Oh no Western, the project office is supposed to be in Western. San kwasi delay we nyina it is because of say the project itself KUMAP no project no one of its kind in Western and Central Africa no. The office no e wa Accra. Otumfuo say hokra ne ha no. Ebe had the bureaucratic process. Jumedie ne kwanya was a fast no. Ebe ha no. Other two also say the project shouldn't be running from Accra. When the project is in Kumase, the project unit should be here, and the project coordinator must also be a resident here, so that at least the stakeholders will be able to communicate, to coordinate with them. I will say project, you know, team, no, office, no, I will say wo Kumase. Send a better coordinators. I was so timi boa Emma project ekoso ebetimi any team no ayede a coordinate ama bibia ye intentem. Once I was a one boa madwumadi ekoyie intentem so no. I was say one so etimi nya easy access to this team. Human intentem so nti. They are even supposed to stay in Kumase. How are stakeholders supposed to reach you? Coordinators. How are they supposed to reach you? In an easy way. To make sure it's a project where everything is in a haste. Otumfuo was at the government. The decisions they took, in general sense, it was stupid. Me and twas a more and somewhat able bar. I want to meet the project team. Otumfuo so beso meet project in the team or beso shower mo. I'm tired of all this nonsense. How? The second capital of the country now treating nonsense. When ya man and more be for him when he 10 years, Otumfuo is willing to do a whole lot for the people of Asante region because Kumasi is the capital of Asante region. Bien of free Kumasi, what we should move wants me free Kumasi, there be we Asante simple. Kumasi is the capital of Asante region. Asante ni be free Kumasi. Opa so tem so free Kumasi, Brono out free Kumasi, met was say, Opa so free. Free for fine, but and you should the name general so free Kumasi because Asante ni be to me free Kumasi, Kumasi will be there. So if you tune for a Kumasi here or Asanteman capital ni ye. Shockingly. You want to deal with the social contract? He doesn't need the government to develop Asante region. It's a big conversation. Me and Otumfuo they say me twice. Say if I have to go to Accra for them to take me to Washington, we will do that. Otumfuo say I was so Accra. Emma team who say nenya break. No much chance say answer ne be no we dey. Otumfuo say dey see pen intermediate. This year try krata command pen for Washington. World Bank no Washington na dead. Or see, even if that is it, and they are crowd or be fly out of the country or not be call Washington, World Bank office or call no could be the president himself. And so when it comes to the potency, say Otumfuo everything I can say me to me just says it away my Ghana me jay my Asanteman ya and one Ghana no go draw the man come on eh who Sikana yetimi kwajiri ya Ghana nyina ye Otumfuo say unya the politicians or power and soldier. And even if the World Bank, Western and the Central Africa controller, vice president, every say project, a same brain, Tiscani and someone, or one casa beko Washington. Team no are responsible for the project in the business, Sikano Honsam. Immediately, Beko Washington, or no Beko. And common would do. I didn't know when they would take these decisions. A DNA cost war. Monarchy versus government. Come on, Imudo, me and Twasso, need you to inform some of the Twasso. Say the World Bank's vice president for Western and Central Africa accepted Otumfuo's council to have the project office in Kumasi. Was it Mr. Ghana, the vice president for World Bank, Central and Western Africa? Otumfuo kasa wi ya no jitum say or hene, sema okay in a womb and okre, me jitum. And me jitum something me jitum. Me heard your opinion to us. So I say I fully agree with you to be close to the project. Was it me jitum say I was a project, are you closer to you? We are closer to the project. Now I would do anything the cost, especially the office. The team, no office supposed to be in Kumasi for you to be closer to the office. Papa was in his address. He said the matter is part of the new dynamic in his team. Was proposing to the bank. When it comes to project, or model to World Bank, and him say because Africa here Sikasia, or see where one of the things show, or model to World Bank, and him say quick response. It's too for anyone when a can't be project here say show, and we're African, the KUMAP no account be or money a here World Bank as I see different commodity. Or see we are discussing what are the mechanisms so that when the project is approved, implementation cannot be delayed. Or see as I see a kwaya horo. Ye di project never fast when ye vie. Kwaya horo was a project as I say. Send a be a shasia be biabekoso 30. The World Bank Vice President for the Central and the Western Africa, Mr. Ghana, at the twice to say, this year our plan is for Kumasi. We didn't say currently about between Otumfuo were tired of what we call politicians. This time he is willing to deal with the World Bank, Asanteman, Otumfuo, World Bank, Ghana, Nimubi, Ghana, among 7 politicians in Nimubi. Doesn't have to go to the parliament, they be approving, they be discussed, or enough to defend when it comes to. So no way na Asanteman ye, or you're tired, and similar mood, and then everybody, ye baby danyane, ati the sin say ana, and come on, say we a government, why a government in that? Ube hum come on mudro, about saying, ya danyane, a government project between the World Bank, Otumfuo so nyano, in a social contract, we hear by no. We're tired of politicians. Or no ABCC and Asanteman. One of the biggest projects as it been seen that it's going to be one of its kind in the whole of Central and Western Africa. Otumfuo is willing to do it himself for the people of Kumasi and Asante region. Munya kini me nimbedi nkra. Ensem na hweho. Me tena ho cha me bo mani ndisu e den na ebobo bay. You be say show na next video makrab.
K1ng oh boy Juma we did Jacob. So now see commentary or social media no style of blogging fantastic. So you see commentary news in the bar. So you see commentary for home. We so good. Keep on going.
And the start also the ebema other tribe a follow. Unyi sorted. Undia temni. That's how becano. It's so painful. I know shit. I don't know say I'll commentary like or you as a presenter, sports presenter that they are. And we need maybe I will strength free but it's all good. Oh yeah, dear. K1ng Ghana, K1ng will try pa.